US dollars in 2020. What an astonishing number this is, showing how popular the listing of Spac is. So what is so good about Spac that everyone is striving for the listing of Spac? I'll reveal the answer shortly, but let me first tell you the operation process of Spac. The general listing process that we are familiar with is to follow the routine of have business operations first, then go public to raise funds. But Spac has created a completely different way of listing. That is, list first, then look at a company's business operation. First, the founder of the Spac will set up a shell company, then the founder will raise funds through IPO. After that, he will look for promising unlisted companies and merge these targeted companies and then get listed. Now, investors might wonder, what if the founder is unable to find a company that is worth merging? Or investors might also ask, what if the founder is not taking action in merging targeted companies? And this is why Spac is gaining such fame. The Spac founder is required to complete merging and acquisition in a certain period of time, or else the Spac will be liquidated, dissolved, and resolved, and then the money is returned to investors. Generally, Spac must be completed within 24 months from the end of the IPO to the completion of the merger. Therefore, investors do not have to worry about their own interests being damaged. Another thing is that 90% of the raised funds through the IPO need to be put in a trust account for the purpose of acquisition. They cannot be used for the company's personal administrative expenses. I have also been frequently asked regarding the issue of Spac participants. For Spac participants, they can be roughly divided into three groups. First, the founder management team. Second, the sponsor. And third, the public investors. The Spac founder will provide the initial startup capital for Spac. After the Spac IPO and the completion or merging and acquisition, he will obtain a large amount of equity income. The Spac founder is also responsible to find a worth acquiring company. Next, investors who have invested funds after the inception of Spac but before IPO, they are known as sponsors, the pre-IPO stage investors. They will obtain founder shares. Spac sponsors contribute approximately 10% of the total capital raised in the Spac IPO and are used to pay for the IPO costs. After the Spac IPO, the founder shares will be converted into ordinary shares of approximately 20% of the total capital raised by the Spac IPO. Thirdly, the public investors. Everyone can join and become a public investor. Public investors participate during the IPO stage and buy units. Each unit consists of a common stock and a warrant. After the completion of IPO, the units can be split into common stock and warrant. Public investors can then choose to trade the entire units in the market or trade common stock or warrant individually. Let's look at some of the companies that are doing Spac. The chief executive and co-founder of Grab, Anthony Tan, has mentioned that the company is going public through a record $39.6 billion merger with Spac Altimeter Growth Corp, which is expecting to list in Q4 this year. Another successful example is Him and Hers, which started by selling male hair tonic, transformed into a telemedicine company under the loosening of the US telemedicine regulations during the epidemic, and soon went public through Spac. Because compared with the traditional IPO, the listing can be completed in a very short time through Spac. Another example, space travel company Virgin Galactic is one of the companies listed through Spac. In 2019, it's merged with the Spac founded by Chamath Palihapitiya, a former high-level executive of Facebook and now known as the king of Spac, and it was successfully listed on the New York Stock Exchange in October of that year. The current valuation has exceeded 1.3 billion US dollars, and there are many more Spac examples in the market, once again proving how profitable Spac is. Seeing how Spac brings profits to investors, it has stimulated even more people to be a part of Spac to enjoy high returns. Instead of investing funds in other projects, it is better to invest funds in Spac projects. I am now going to announce some very exciting news for every one of you. Gibx Spac is looking for sponsors to jointly build a shell company and go public, creating 10 times of wealth together. The document that I'm holding here is the Form S-1, approved by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Our members can use their GUSDT to exchange for Spac equity to become co-sponsors for this Spac. In other words, we are offering the opportunity to all members to become owners of the Spac using your GUSDT. We will only open 50 million share units for public exchange. It is extremely limited. First come, first served. Once all are sold out, there will be no additional issuance. So I hereby urge everyone to grab this golden opportunity. According to the guidelines of the US SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, Gibx will soon plan to issue 20 million to a maximum of 100 million shares at a price of $10 US in order to raise 200 million to 1 billion US dollars. Each unit consists of one common share and one half of the warrants. The strike price is $11.50 US. According to the proposed transaction size, the market value of Gibx Spac's global acquisition will reach 257 million US dollars to a maximum of 1.285 billion US dollars. In 2021, Nasdaq Spac will give you the opportunity to become a joint sponsor of Gibx cannabis companies with a valuation of 1 billion US dollars. As more and more regions in the world legalize cannabis, traditional exchanges such as Nasdaq have welcomed more and more companies from the cannabis industry. Hence, it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to become the equity holder of a listed group. We are going to open up for everyone to hedge the digital asset GUSDT, allowing you to become a co-sponsor of Gibx Spac and exchange the founder share of Spac. You will be able to enjoy up to 10 times the income. Gibx Spac stock equity can be listed as quickly as 6 to 18 months during the purchase period. Up to 24 months can be applied for extension. At present, we have already 4 high potential cannabis companies in mind to be acquired. If we do not manage to acquire them in time, we will then fully refund our investors' funds with additional interest. I bet everyone can't wait to participate in our Gibx Spac. Like I mentioned just now, participants can use 100% GUSDT to exchange for Spac equity. Hence, I am now going to talk to you about our GUSDT 100% stock equity mechanism calculation method. Our issue price will be $10 US per share, participants must exchange at least 10 units, 10 shares of Spac Canada's company equity. Our system adopts one-for-one exchange, regardless of whether the price of GUSDT rises or depreciates. It is still exchanged for Spac equity at a one-for-one basis. Once the IPO is successfully listed, all GUSDT participating in the hedge exchange will be destroyed on the chain, and you can view it instantly on the browser. Let me give you a simple example regarding the calculation part. Let's say one GUSDT is 80 cents. Today is exchanged for 100 shares at $10 per share, which is 1,000 US dollars equivalent. One for one is 1,000 US dollars, which is 80 cents equals 1,250 GUSDT, can be exchanged for 100 shares of Spac. Assuming one GUSDT is $1.50, the price rises the next day, exchange for 100 shares of Spac. One for one is 1,000 US dollars, $1.50 equals only 666 GUSDT, can be exchanged for 100 shares of Spac. In addition, for the benefit part, the IDX wrote a